On the 6th of June 1944, southern England stirs under the weight of a historic dawn. Airfields from Cornwall to Kent hum as engines cough to life in precise rows. Approximately 11,500% 90 Allied aircraft, marshalled under Air Chief Marshal, Sir Trafford Leigh-Mallory's Allied Expeditionary Air Force, stand poised for Operation Neptune, the amphibious assault phase of Operation Overlord, with the AEAF orchestrating the aerial cover for the invasion. Fighters, Spitfires, Mustangs, Thunderbolts and Typhoons sit alongside troop carriers like C-47 Seconds and glider tugs tasked with towing Horsa and Waco gliders. Their metal skins bear a fresh and urgent mark. 5 stark bands, white, black, painted in haste, still tacky under the morning dew. These invasion stripes are no mere adornment. They are a calculated defense against a lethal threat. The airspace over Normandy will be the most crowded in the annals of war, with 14,674 sorties flown in 24 hours. Electronic identification, friend or foe systems, though advanced, buckle under this unprecedented density. Naval gunners aboard destroyers and cruisers, Army anti-aircraft crews soon to land ashore, and pilots scanning through haze and flak need a visual signal that resolves in an instant. The stripes are engineered to halt friendly fire in a theatre where a single misjudgment could cascade into catastrophe. The genesis of this solution is rooted in necessity. Operation Neptune demands more than air superiority. It requires an orderly aerial highway where fighters, transports and bombers navigate timed lanes above a sprawling joint armada. Naval gunners, seasoned by years of Luftwaffe raids, sit tense at their Oerlikons and Beauforts, their fingers itching at the sight of low-flying silhouettes. Army batteries, many manned by troops green to combat, will soon face the chaos of Normandy's beaches. Friendly fighters and fighter bombers must thread through streams of C-47 Seconds, dropping paratroopers' tugs, releasing gliders and bursts of flak tearing the sky. The risk of blue-on-blue fire is not abstract. It has haunted every major amphibious operation since 1941. In May 1944, Leigh-Mallory's staff confronts this reality head-on. They approve a theatre-wide visual recognition scheme to ensure no Allied aircraft is mistaken for a Focke-Wulf or Messerschmitt. The timeline is unforgiving. On the 1st of June, a familiarization flight of striped aircraft passes over Allied shipping to train lookouts and gun crews. Painting orders reach troop carrier units on the 3rd of June and fighter bomber and light bomber units on the 4th, aligned for an invasion set for the 5th, but delayed by weather to the 6th. The design is deliberately simple. A high-contrast pattern that any sailor, soldier or airman can parse against cloud, sea or smoke without hesitation. The specification is precise, engineered for clarity under pressure. 5 bands white, black, encircle the rear fuselage and span both upper and lower wing surfaces. National markings, whether RAF roundels or U.S. stars, remain untouched to avoid confusion. Bandwidths are tailored by aircraft type for legibility. 18 inches for single-engine fighters like the Spitfire or Mustang, 24 inches for twin-engine types like the C-47 or B-26. Placement is standardized using fixed airframe references, leading edges, nacelles, tailplanes, to ensure ground crews often working in haste achieve consistent geometry. The scheme applies broadly across tactical and airlift forces, fighters, fighter bombers, troop carriers, glider tugs, photo reconnaissance platforms, and select light and medium bombers. Heavy bombers of the 8th Air Force and RAF Bomber Command, operating at higher altitudes with distinct silhouettes, generally forego the stripes. Their missions and identification protocols differ, reducing the risk of confusion with the low-flying tactical aircraft saturating the invasion corridor. Ground crews across southern England turn airfields into paint shops overnight. Chalk lines mark reference points. Broad brushes lay down stripes where masking tape is scarce. Weather looms and time is short. The rough-edged bands applied with urgency reflect the operation's razor-thin margins. As dawn breaks on the 6th, the aircraft roll toward the channel, their stripes catching the first slivers of light. Fighters climb to sweep the skies. Troop carriers form long columns for paratroop drops and tugs haul gliders toward the Cotentin Peninsula. The sky thickens with contrails and the distant pulse of flak. From the adversary's view, Luftwaffe observers note the relentless stream of Allied aircraft, their stark bands unmistakable against the morning haze. The stripes do not solve navigation or shield against enemy fire, but they simplify a critical glance friend, hold fire. The number that matters is 14,674 sorties, flown in 24 hours, a testament to the scale and the peril. This is no ceremonial flyover, it is a disciplined surge to secure the air above the greatest amphibious assault in history. The stripes born of engineering pragmatism stand as a visual covenant among sailors, soldiers and airmen to guard against their own. As the 6th of June 1944 unfolds, the invasion stripes prove their worth in the crucible of Normandy's crowded skies. Across the invasion corridor, approximately 11,590 Allied aircraft surge into action, executing 14,674 sorties in 24 hours. Fighters sweep inland to suppress Luftwaffe resistance, while C-47 seconds drone in tight formations, dropping paratroopers over the Cotentin Peninsula. Glider tugs release Horsa and Waco gliders into turbulent coastal air, and fighter bombers dive toward bridges and strongpoints. The stripes, white, black, white, black, white, stand out against the chaos of contrails, flak bursts, and broken cloud. Naval gunners scanning from swaying decks spot the bands through haze and hold fire. Army anti-aircraft crews newly landed and tense train their Bofors guns, but pause at the sight of the pattern. Pilots weaving through streams of aircraft glance at wings and fuselages to confirm friend from foe. The system is not flawless, but it anchors a critical decision in a theatre where hesitation can be as deadly as haste. The design's strength lies in its simplicity. 5 high-contrast bands, standardized across aircraft types, require no handbook to interpret. On single-engine fighters, 18-inch stripes span wings and fuselages. On twin-engine transports, 24-inch bands ensure visibility from greater distances. Placement aligns with fixed airframe features, leading edges, nacelles, roundels, allowing ground crews to apply them under pressure. In the days before the invasion, airfields buzzed with urgency. Orders issued on the 3rd and 4th of June left little room for precision. Many crews lacked masking tape, resorting to mops and brooms. The resulting stripes, often uneven, still met the core requirement: legibility under stress. Despite damp English weather and tight timelines, crews worked through mist and mud. The bands, rough as they are, bind the air armada into a shared visual language, from Spitfires screaming over beaches to C-47 seconds lumbering toward drop zones. Challenges emerge as the operation scales. The sheer density of aircraft, 14,674 sorties in one day, strains every system from navigation to fire discipline. Weather shifting from squalls to patchy clearings obscures visibility and complicates recognition. Flak, both German and Allied, adds lethal clutter to the sky. Luftwaffe pilots outnumbered but active exploit gaps to engage. From their cockpits, they curse the endless waves of striped Allied aircraft, their formations too vast to disrupt. The stripes do not stop enemy fire, but they reduce one critical error: Allied guns, mistaking Allied planes. Losses on the 6th total, about 127 aircraft felled by enemy action flak, including some Allied fire weather and mishaps. The bands hold the line against chaos, proving their value in the day's relentless tempo. Yet their role is specific. They address human factors in a joint operation, not mechanical or tactical failures. Ground crews bear the weight of preparation. Across southern England, squadrons transform into workshops overnight. Mechanics already tasked with engine checks and armament loads pivot to painting. Chalk lines mark reference points, brushes sweep across wings and fuselages. Some aircraft fresh from maintenance roll out with stripes still wet, their crews racing against the invasion clock. Transport units tasked with airborne drops prioritize C-47 seconds, and glider tugs ensuring every paratrooper and glider reaches its zone. Fighter squadrons, meanwhile, balance painting with combat readiness, their Mustangs and Typhoons primed for low-level strikes. At sea, Allied ships rehearse fire discipline lookouts, studying silhouettes and stripes during the 1st of June overflight. The effort is joint sailors, soldiers and airmen align on a single cue to navigate the invasion's intensity. As dawn gives way to day, the stripes stand as a testament to planning under pressure, binding disparate forces into a unified push. The system's limits are clear. Stripes do not shield against navigation errors or German flak, nor do they guarantee perfect recognition in low light or heavy cloud. Their value lies in reducing ambiguity for split-second decisions. Naval gunners trained to fire at approaching aircraft learn to pause at the sight of 5 bands. Army crews facing their first combat rely on the pattern to distinguish friend from foe. Pilots darting through crowded skies use the stripes to confirm formations amid the din of engines and gunfire. The scheme's success is not in eliminating risk, but in carving out a margin of safety in a theatre of unprecedented scale. As the day progresses, the invasion stripes hold fast, a visual thread weaving through the storm of Operation Neptune. As the 6th of June, 1944 presses forward, the invasion stripes anchor order in Normandy's turbulent skies. Approximately 11,590 term. Allied aircraft surge across the Channel, delivering 14,674 sorties in 24 hours. C 47 seconds, their fuselages banded with 5 stark stripes, white, black, white drone in endless columns, releasing paratroopers over darkened drop zones. Glider tugs towing Horsa, and Waco gliders cut through coastal squalls, their 18-inch or 24-inch bands visible against grey cloud. Fighters, Spitfires, Mustangs, Typhoons sweep low over beaches and bridges, their stripes flashing in the morning light as they strafe German positions. Naval gunners perched on rolling decks scan the horizon through flak and haze, spotting the bands and holding fire. Army anti-aircraft crews newly ashore and jittery train their guns but pause at the pattern's clarity. The stripes deliver a split-second truth, friend, not foe. The number that matters is 127 aircraft lost in 24 hours, a toll from enemy action flak, including some Allied fire weather and mishaps. The stripes' execution reflects engineering precision under wartime strain. Orders issued on the 3rd and 4th of June demand rapid application across diverse airframes. Single-engine fighters carry 18-inch bands. Twin-engine transports bear 24-inch stripes for legibility at range. Placement is meticulous, tied to airframe landmarks, leading edges, nacelles, tailplanes, to ensure uniformity despite hurried work. Ground crews battling damp weather and short nights wield brushes and mops where tape is scarce, producing rough but functional bands. The scheme spans fighters, fighter bombers, troop carriers, glider tugs, and select light bombers like the A-20 and B-26. Heavy bombers operating at higher altitudes largely bypass the system, their distinct profiles less likely to be mistaken for low-flying Luftwaffe craft. The stripes' coarse design, high contrast broadly applied, ensures recognition by sailors, soldiers, and airmen under stress, from ship decks to foxholes to cockpits. The human element drives the system's urgency. Ground crews stretched thin by maintenance and arming duties transform airfields into paint shops. Chalk lines mark wing and fuselage points. Paint flows under flickering lanterns. C-47 squadrons tasked with airborne drops prioritize speed their aircraft ready to haul paratroopers or tow gliders by dawn. Fighter units balance painting with combat prep, their Mustangs and Thunderbolts rolling out for sweeps and strikes. At sea, lookouts and gun captains drilled on the 1st of June with overflights lock onto the stripes as a cue to restrain fire. Pilots navigating crowded skies rely on the bands to confirm friendly formations amid flak and engine roar. From the Luftwaffe's perspective, pilots grit their teeth as striped Allied aircraft dominate the horizon, their numbers overwhelming. The stripes do not halt German guns, but they carve a clear line for Allied forces, reducing chaos in a theatre of relentless motion. The system's impact is measurable but focused. Of 14,674 sorties losses, total 127 aircraft, driven by enemy action, weather, and operational strain. Friendly fire was reduced but not eliminated. Naval gunners trained to shoot at low-flying silhouettes hold back when bands appear. Army crews facing their first combat find the pattern a steadying anchor. Pilots darting through contrail-laced skies use the stripes to sort friend from foe in seconds. The scheme's strength is its joint design. It binds sailors, soldiers, and airmen to a shared visual code. Yet limitations persist. Stripes do not shield against navigation, errors, poor weather, or German flak. Their role is singular to minimize misidentification in a sky choked with aircraft. As the day unfolds, the bands prove their worth not as a cure-all, but as a pragmatic tool to navigate the invasion's intensity. The Stripes' tactical clarity extends beyond the 6th. As Allied forces secure beachheads, the pattern's value is tested in evolving conditions. Upper surface stripes visible to enemy spotters were ordered removed about a month after D-Day. Remaining markings were progressively reduced and largely gone by the end of 1944. From dawn to dusk, the stripes weave through the storm of Operation Neptune, a visual thread that steadies the Allied armada in its most critical hour. As the 6th of June, 1944 presses forward, the invasion stripes anchor order in Normandy's turbulent skies. Approximately 11,590 Allied aircraft surge across the Channel, delivering 14,674 sorties in 24 hours. C 47 seconds, their fuselages banded with 5 stark stripes, white, black, white, black, white, drone in endless columns, releasing paratroopers over darkened drop zones. Glider tugs towing Horsa and Waco gliders cut through coastal squalls, their 24-inch stripes catching fleeting sunlight. Spitfires and Typhoons, marked with 18-inch bands, dive through flak to strike German emplacements. Naval gunners squinting from pitching decks spot the stripes and ease fingers from triggers. Army anti-aircraft crews dug in amid the chaos of new beachheads, recognize the pattern and hold fire. Pilots threading through crowded airspace glance at wings to confirm allies in the blur of contrails and smoke. The Stripes' simplicity, a 5-band sequence, anchors a joint force under strain, where misidentification threatens to unravel the invasion's momentum. The human element shapes every stage of the system's execution. Ground crews across southern England tasked with arming and maintaining aircraft pivot to painting in the narrow window before launch. Orders issued on the 3rd and 4th of June demand rapid work. Damp weather and limited supplies force improvisation. Chalk lines mark fuselages. Mops and brooms spread paint where tape is absent. The resulting bands, often jagged, meet the core need immediate visibility under stress. C-47 units preparing for airborne drops paint through the night to ready transports and glider tugs. Fighter squadrons, balancing combat prep, stripe their Mustangs and Thunderbolts for low-level missions. At sea, lookouts and gun captains trained during the 1st of June, overflight lock onto the pattern as a cue for restraint. Time is the constraint. Many aircraft roll out with stripes still tacky as crews race the invasion clock. This joint effort, sailors, soldiers, airmen, hinges on a shared visual code that cuts through the fog of war. From the Luftwaffe's view, the stripes signal an unrelenting tide. Pilots outnumbered watch endless waves of banded aircraft dominate the dawn sky. The stripes do not deter German guns, but clarify Allied intent, ensuring friendly forces hesitate before firing. Losses on the 6th total, about 127 aircraft, a tally driven by combat flak, weather and mishaps, friendly fire reduced, but not eliminated. The stripes' role is narrow but critical. They reduce human error in a theatre of unprecedented scale. Naval gunners, conditioned to fire at low-flying shapes, pause at the sight of 5 bands. Army crews, green and tense, find the pattern a steadying anchor amid chaos. Pilots, navigating a sky thick with contrails, rely on the stripes to sort friend from foe in seconds. The system's design course, high contrast universal, anticipates the limits of human perception under stress, from ship decks to foxholes to cockpits. Operational realities test the stripes' limits. Broken weather, shifting from squalls to clearings, obscures visibility. Flak, both German and Allied, laces the air with danger. Navigation errors persist, and the stripes offer no shield against enemy fire or mechanical failure. Their purpose is singular: to minimize blue-on-blue fire in a sky saturated with 14,674 sorties. As the invasion unfolds, the bands prove their worth not by eliminating risk, but by carving a margin of safety. Allied airfields, still in England, hum with activity, as ground crews ready aircraft for follow-on missions. At sea, ships maintain fire discipline, their lookouts scanning for the familiar pattern. Ashore, army batteries, battered by the landing's chaos, cling to the stripes as a reliable cue. The system's success lies in its redundancy, electronic identification, friend or foe, radio control, and published lanes falter under overload, but the stripes endure as a low-latency solution. As the 6th of June fades into dusk, the invasion stripes stand as a testament to human factors engineering. They do not win the battle alone, but enable the joint force to function amid chaos. The pattern's clarity, born of rushed paint and hurried orders, holds the line against misidentification. Its legacy begins to take shape, a simple, shared cue that sailors, soldiers, and airmen can trust under fire. The Stripes' story is not one of triumph, but of pragmatism, a calculated answer to the human cost of confusion in the largest air operation ever mounted. As the 6th of June, 1944 yields to the days that follow, the invasion stripes remain a linchpin in Normandy's crowded skies. Approximately 11,590 Allied aircraft, having flown 14,674 sorties on D-Day, continue to surge over the expanding lodgement. C-40, 7 seconds, their fuselages marked with 5 bold bands, white, black, white deliver supplies and reinforcements to forward drop zones. Glider tugs, striped with 24-inch bands, haul Waco and Horsa gliders to fields carved from hedgerows. Fighters, Spitfires, Mustangs, Typhoons sweep inland, their 18-inch stripes flashing as they engage German armor and guns. Naval gunners, steadying themselves on wave-tossed decks, spot the bands through smoke and hold fire. Army anti-aircraft crews, now entrenched on Normandy soil, recognize the pattern amid the din of battle. Pilots, darting through skies laced with flak, rely on the stripes to confirm allies in a glance. The system born of urgency proves its worth in sustaining order across a joint force under relentless pressure. The stripes' role evolves as the campaign shifts. On the 6th, their primary task was to prevent misidentification during the invasion's chaotic opening. Now, as Allied forces dig in, the bands support sustained operations. Forward airfields hastily built on captured ground hum with activity. Striped aircraft land and depart, ferrying men and materiel. The stripes remain critical for naval and army gunners, whose fire discipline holds against the temptation to shoot at low-flying shapes. Friendly fire was reduced but not eliminated, a testament to the pattern's clarity. The number that matters is 127 aircraft lost on the 6th, yet the stripes' visibility, a strength on D-Day, draws scrutiny. Upper surface bands, legible to German spotters and artillery observers, risk betraying Allied movements. By early July, 1944 commanders order these stripes removed, preserving only those on lower surfaces for ground-based recognition. The reassessment reflects tactical realities. Allied air supremacy, bolstered by radar nets and improved radio control, reduces the need for universal visual cues. The stripes, designed for the invasion's peak density, face diminishing returns as the front stabilizes. By late 1944, most remaining bands are phased out, their utility overtaken by new identification systems and operational patterns. Yet, the concept proves adaptable. In August 1944, during Operation Dragoon, the invasion of southern France, select troop carrier aircraft revived the stripes to navigate similar risks of misidentification. The pattern's simplicity, requiring no electronics or complex training, ensures its portability across theaters. Ground crews familiar with the rushed painting of June replicate the bands with practiced efficiency. The stripes' core principle, clear, redundant identification, endures as a model for joint operations. From the German perspective, the stripes mark an unstoppable tide. Luftwaffe pilots, dwindling in number, face endless waves of banded aircraft dominating the skies. The human cost of the system's success is evident in the Allies' sustained momentum. Ground crews working through fatigue maintain aircraft while adapting to new orders. Naval lookouts, scanning horizons for threats, rely on the stripes to parse friend from foe in seconds. Army gunners, hardened by weeks of combat, cling to the pattern as a steadying constant. Pilots flying multiple sorties daily trust the bands to navigate crowded airspace. The stripes do not eliminate losses, flak weather and enemy action still claim aircraft, but they mitigate one critical failure: mistaken identity. Their design, rooted in human factors, anticipates the limits of perception under stress, from ship decks to muddy airfields. The stripes' legacy begins to crystallize. Their rapid implementation, driven by orders on the 3rd and 4th of June, showcases planning under pressure. The system's coarse elegance, 5 bands broadly applied, delivers clarity where electronics and radio falter. As Normandy's front expands, the stripes' role wanes, but their lesson persists. Simple shared cues can unify a joint force in chaos. The pattern, born of chalk lines and hurried brushes, proves more than paint. It is a bridge between sailors, soldiers, and airmen, forged in the crucible of the 6th of June, 1944. As summer 1944 fades, the invasion stripes' role in Normandy's success solidifies, yet misconceptions cloud their record. The pattern, 5 bands of white and black, enabled approximately 11,590 Allied aircraft to fly 14,674 sorties on the 6th of June, minimizing friendly fire in a sky thick with chaos. 3 persistent myths obscure the system's true scope. First, many assume every Allied aircraft bore stripes. Tactical types, Spitfires, Mustangs, C-47 seconds, and select light bombers like A-20 seconds, carried the bands, but heavy bombers of the 8th Air Force and RAF Bomber Command generally did not. Their high-altitude missions and distinct silhouettes, reducing misidentification risks. Second, some believe the stripes were a leisurely, long-planned effort. Approval came in May 1944. Painting orders hit on the 3rd and 4th of June for a launch on the 6th. This tight timeline, driven by secrecy and weather, demanded rapid execution. Third, the stripes are often seen as solely for air-to-air recognition. Their design was joint, serving naval gunners, Army anti-aircraft crews and pilots alike, ensuring clarity across sea, land, and sky. The myths stem from the stripes' stark visibility. Their bold pattern, 18 inches wide on fighters, 24 inches on transports, suggests a universal fix, but their application was selective. Heavy bombers operating above 20,000 feet relied on electronic identification and mission separation. Tactical aircraft crowding low-level airspace needed the bands to stand out amid flak and haze. The rushed implementation, far from a months-long plan, reflects wartime pragmatism. Air Chief Marshal Sir Trafford Leigh-Mallory's staff, facing D-Day's complexity, crafted a scheme in weeks with familiarization flights on the 1st of June to train eyes. Ground crews painting through damp nights met the deadline within a tight 2-day window under pressure. The Joint Focus Navy-Army Air addressed a shared problem: misidentification in a theatre where 14,674 sorties flew in 24 hours. Naval gunners scanning from destroyers paused at the stripes. Army crews green to combat anchored on them. Pilots weaving through contrails trusted them. From the Luftwaffe's view, the stripes marked an inexorable Allied wave, their formations too dense to counter in Normandy's crowded skies. The system's clarity saved lives, though not without limits. Losses on the 6th totaled 127 aircraft felled by flak weather and enemy action, with friendly fire reduced but not eliminated. The stripes did not solve navigation or shield against German guns, but carved a margin of safety for split-second decisions. Their joint design ensured sailors, soldiers, and airmen shared a common cue, from Oerlikons on ships to Bofors ashore to cockpits above. Misconceptions exaggerate their scope, ignoring the tailored application and urgent timeline. The stripes were no panacea. They were a human factors tool engineered to cut through chaos where electronics faltered. The system's reassessment shapes its legacy. By July 1944, upper surface stripes visible to enemy spotters are removed to reduce exposure. By late 1944, as radar and radio nets strengthen, remaining bands fade from use. Their principle reappears in Operation Dragoon, where troop carrier aircraft don stripes for southern France's invasion. The pattern's simplicity, 5 bands, no handbook needed, proves its enduring value. Ground crews, hardened by June's rush, replicate the bands with ease. Naval and Army units trained on the pattern maintain fire discipline in new theatres. Pilots flying in dense formations rely on the stripe's clarity. The myths, universal use, long planning, air-only focus fall away against the record, a rapid joint solution that steadied the largest air operation in history. The stripe's story is one of precision, under pressure. Their coarse design, born of chalk and hurried brushes, unified a joint force on the 6th of June. They did not win the battle but enabled it, reducing the fog of war for those who sailed, fought and flew. Their legacy lies not in paint but in a habit of planning build, simple, shared cues that endure under stress. That principle, forged in Normandy's crucible, carries forward to modern operations. The invasion stripes fading from aircraft by late 1944 leave a legacy beyond their brief tenure over Normandy. On the 6th of June, approximately 11,590 Allied aircraft flying 14,674 sorties in 24 hours relied on 5 stark bands, white, black, white, black, white, to navigate a sky choked with chaos. The pattern born of urgent orders on the 3rd and 4th of June unified sailors, soldiers and airmen in a joint effort to curb friendly fire. Its success, measured in losses limited to 127 aircraft from combat flak and weather, with friendly fire reduced but not eliminated, underscores a simple truth. Clear, redundant identification can steady a force under pressure. As the Normandy campaign expands, the stripes' role wanes, but their principle, a low-latency visual cue, endures, shaping how joint forces manage complexity in modern warfare. The stripes' impact lies in their human-centered design. Engineered for split-second recognition, the bands 18 inches on fighters, 24 inches on transports cut through haze, flak and dawn light. Naval gunners scanning from pitching decks held fire at their sight. Army anti-aircraft crews entrenched amid battle's roar anchored on their clarity. Pilots weaving through contrail-laced skies trusted the stripes to confirm allies in a glance. From the Luftwaffe's perspective, the bands signalled an unrelenting tide, Allied formations flooding Normandy with no respite. The system's rapid implementation, driven by Air Chief Marshal Sir Trafford Leigh-Mallory's staff, reflects a pragmatic response to a theatre where electronic identification faltered. Ground crews painting under damp English skies met the deadline with brooms and chalk, their rough bands binding the invasion's air armada. The stripes' phased withdrawal reveals their adaptability. By July 1944, upper surface bands visible to German spotters are removed to shield Allied movements. By year's end, as radar and radio nets solidify, air control remaining stripes vanish. Yet their concept reappears in Operation Dragoon, where troop carrier aircraft don the pattern for southern France's invasion in August 1944. The stripes' portability, simple to apply, easy to read, proves their value in new theatres. Ground crews seasoned by June's rush paint with efficiency. Naval and Army units trained on the pattern maintain fire discipline. Pilots navigating dense airspace rely on the band's clarity. The system's core strength, its coarse universal design, requires no complex tools, only trained eyes and shared intent. The legacy transcends paint and metal. The stripes embody a planning habit, build cues that work under stress, uniting disparate forces. Modern joint operations with advanced electronics and data links still echo this principle. Identification systems, from transponders to visual markers, prioritize redundancy and clarity lessons rooted in Normandy's crowded skies. The stripes' success on the 6th of June, where 14,674 sorties flew with friendly fire reduced but not eliminated, proves the power of simplicity. Losses of 127 aircraft, driven by enemy action and operational hazards, highlight the system's focus: mitigate human error, not eliminate all risk. Sailors, soldiers, and airmen bound by the bands executed a unified push that turned the tide of war. The stripes' story closes not with fanfare, but with quiet precision. Their rapid design, rushed application, and joint focus reflect engineering under pressure. From chalk lines on English airfields to gliders over Normandy, the band steadied a force facing unprecedented scale. Their withdrawal as conditions shifted shows adaptability, Their revival in Dragoon proves versatility. The lesson endures when complexity threatens chaos. Simple cues can anchor a joint force. The invasion stripes, fleeting as they were, stand as a testament to clarity forged in the crucible of the 6th of June, 1944, a model for operations where human judgment must prevail.